Welcome everybody to a new episode of AZ Security, the new channel in which we present the latest security news on the Microsoft Azure technology. My name is Dian Paardenkoper, MVP of IT Impressive, and today we are talking about Microsoft Sentinel. With a special guest, that is Jeroen Wint. Jeroen, maybe you can introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jeroen Wint. I'm a cloud solution architect at Microsoft Netherlands and focusing mainly on Microsoft Sentinel and Defender XDR.
Thank you very much. Microsoft Sentinel, it's a great technology. What does it do exactly? Can you tell us in a few sentences what it is?
Well, it's a cloud native security event and information management system. And it's collecting data where you can do all kinds of analysis on the sources you ingest into the data lake. Like for example, you can bring in all M365 data or Windows event logs, and you can analyze it by searching, or you can make detections on it to create security alerts or security incidents from the detections you make. Basically. On top of that, you can automate it to inform your team that something is happening, or you can, for example, automate actions on it to, how do you call it, for example, isolate a machine or something like that with Defender XDR.
Okay, that's a mouthful. If I may try to recap it, is it the SIEM solution of Microsoft? Can I say it in easy words?
100% sure it's the SIEM solution of Microsoft. Yeah.
Cool. So this technology is used mostly for security teams, which have their own SOC to basically analyze the logs which are ingested, basically.
Yeah, it's used by SOCs or smaller teams if they don't have an own SOC to analyze the security events and see if something is happening, if adversaries are there, or if things go wrong, and take action on that.
Cool, cool. And how long do you work with this technology so far?
Well, I was quite early adapter. I started working with Microsoft Sentinel early 2020, and if I recall it correctly, their product has been released March 2019. I was one of the first users in the Netherlands with it, and that's because my employer asked me to help out one of our customers with it.
Cool, cool. So it's almost, it is already 5 years old.
It's 5 years old, yeah, yeah.
Wow. And if you look into this technology, what are common use cases what you mostly implement at customers? If I may say
What are
so.
the common use cases? Well, nowadays we have those new regulations a lot, DORA, NIS2, which are so one of the reasons is compliancy, of course, but what we have nowadays as well, also the security events, which is really important for customers because they want to have lots of information, want to have a look if they got breached, what happened. They want to have to do a full search on an easy way. And I think what we bring is a nice, easy way of going through the data, returning data in seconds, and bringing the engineer a lot of value with our tools.
Okay, okay. So if I'm breaking that solution in pieces, is it just one solution which does everything, or is there components into it?
Well, you can work with it, integrate it very easily with other Microsoft products, of course. So you can integrate it easily with Microsoft Defender XDR or with other vendors to bring in data, and also with logic apps to operate on several levels. But Sentinel itself, it's a log analytic workspace. So basically it's Azure Monitor, and on top of that, it's an extension which is underwater called Security Insights, but the outer name is Microsoft Sentinel.
Okay, okay. And you're working around almost 6 years now with this technology. Do you see specific disadvantages which it doesn't bring the things that you would expect in
What I
case?
would say, although it's not a real difficult thing, but if I would say one of the disadvantages probably might be bringing in some kind of data might sometimes be difficult from syslog, and not because syslog is difficult, but sometimes it's unparsed. And then you need to do data transformation to make it readable. For some customers, that might be a disadvantage. I have to say the big enterprise is all fine. The small MKB companies in the Netherlands might have some difficulties with it. And the other one, what we hear a lot in the market, of course, is costs.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a difficult one, right? Because although it's amazing that this tool basically can collect almost every type of source or data, as you pronounced it, it is also quite an expensive tool if you want to put it into fully action, right?
yeah, it can be expensive, and that's the case. Uh, what the problem is traditionally customers using a SIEM to collect all logging data. And what they try to do is to bring the on-premise mindset into the cloud and collect all data. And if you do that in a solution where you pay per gigabyte, uh, uh, instead of doing that on-premise in a solution where you buy a solution up front,
Right.
you have a different game.
Yeah,
So
so
what you need to do, and what I advise all my customers when they start, and I always tell them, you have to do it smart. So
right.
for every source you bring in, you have to at least you have to have a use case attached to it, so you can show the value of the of the source.
Yeah,
And also, when you have a noisy source, you might have to consider: do I really need all the events it's producing, or can I work with just a subset of the events?
I think that that would be a wise decision, first of all, and also not everything should be, or unless you have seeing the value of it, but you always have to see what is the use case that you're trying to solve, and does it solve by collecting everything, or just only that critical part, basically.
Exactly, and that's what I always try to bring to my customer: use case driven approach or risk based driven approach. What is the risk I cover when I bring in this data source? What kind of risk can I protect myself against? And if you do it like that and you filter out the right events, the ones with valuable data, then the solution doesn't have to be that expensive. Luckily, we have also those kind of log collector services like Logstash or Cribble, where you can filter out data up front, and bring in, for example, data from Logstash. For example, you can bring it via pipelines, one into Azure Sentinel, and for example, the other one into Azure Data Explorer if you only need that data for forensic or hunting experience.
Data Explorer, I've heard a lot of it. That's another way of collecting your data, but
Yeah,
then in other kind of storage,
and
right?
on the good thing from Azure Data Explorer is it's based on KQL. Basically, KQL has been designed for Data Explorer, and if you're running inside Microsoft Sentinel into the log experience, you can just use a query from there straight into ADX. So you can query in two workspaces, the ADX workspace and the Sentinel workspace, to gain your insights. So
Yeah,
that's
for the
really
people.
powerful because the analyst doesn't have to switch tiers and switch products.
That sounds great. For the people that doesn't understand what KQL is, that's a language in which you can query your logs. And nowadays, it's a very important language to customize basically your search into your log files.
I would say
All
if you
right.
want to work with Azure, you need to understand the Custo query language.
Yeah, Gusto is the very good one. Um, That sounds great. What you told. Do you have something to show? Can you
Do I
show
have
a
something to
screen?
show? Yeah, well, let me share my screen, and I want to take you with you into the SOC optimization part of Microsoft Sentinel.
Sure.
It's a fairly new blade. I think it's there for like a few months now. And I guess if we go there, it would be nice to show the people what you can do there and why I would say it's important. Let me share my
Well,
screen.
I would say the stage is yours.
If I'm, I hope you can see it from now.
I
Probably you
see your
can.
screen.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. If you go into the threat management section in Microsoft Sentinel, I hope you all know how to go to Microsoft Sentinel. There you have the SOC optimization blade. And what is great about this SOC optimization blade? Well, it gives you advice and recommendations on how to optimize your Microsoft Sentinel environment. For example, it shows you tables where is low usage or no detections attached. So in this case, you see here a lot of tables which are low usage, but I want, for example, want you to show, let me see downstairs a little bit. We also bring you extra coverage. So for example, here we have for business email compromised, we do have some extra value for you. You just click view details and you see here your coverage can be improved. Well, show more, you can just, you get all the information.
Okay.
And also it gives you the link and it says, well, if you go to the content hub and you can add those 12 new analytic rules. So there are 12 kinds of extra detections right, straight from the content hub. If you go
So,
there,
yeah.
it goes directly to those business email compromise things, and you can select the rules they apply, install them, and from there they are running, or at least they are in your analytic rules, and then you can schedule them to run. I want to go back a little bit, yeah?
Jeroen, that is a sort of enabling new plugins, basically.
No, it's basically running new analytic rules, new detections. So
Detection
extra
rules. Yeah.
detections on top of what you already have running.
Right.
Um, Maybe one of the low usage one, but I don't know if you have a third party one. Sorry for that one. Let me see. Do we have? Oh, well, just grab one of those low tables because low usage of the security events table. And if you just say here, in this case, only 21, because it's my demo environment, only 21 gigabytes in the last 3 months. And then it says by adding recommended rules, you can utilize this table better. So again, you go to the Content Hub. It brings you, if good, some extra rules which are attached to that specific table name. So you can make use extra use of the security events table by enabling those rules. And you see, we only have a few installed, and there are a lot more. I also want to go with you through the Content Hub, and this is because I want to share the Microsoft Essential packages. The
I have one,
Microsoft,
I have one question to the
yeah,
SOC optimization.
yeah.
So, what you're saying is basically you can enable a lot of analytics rules.
Hmm.
How does that comply in my, is that something that I can enable for free, or do I have to pay extra if I enable a lot of
Um,
analytics rules? How does it
as
work?
far as I discovered, all the solutions in the Content Hub are free at this moment.
Okay.
So also the analytic rules. Um, I didn't see anything with pricing yet. I don't expect it will there be with pricing, but never say never, of course. We
True.
don't know what vendors do and what will happen in the future. But for now, all the Content Hub content is free, and you can see the Content Hub like a kind of marketplace.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say but you were up front of me.
Yeah, but it's just a kind of marketplace where you can select all kind of vendors or solutions which you want to install. I want to show this one, or at least a few of these ones, the Microsoft Essentials, and I want to close them down a little bit. Go slow. If you can see here, we have lots of essential packages, and by installing those Microsoft Essential packages, you ensure you got yourself a solid baseline in Microsoft Sentinel where you can start with. And I would recommend everyone who is setting up Sentinel for the first time, first you go, of course, you create the log analytic workspace, you enable the Microsoft Sentinel solution on top. You start with bringing in probably the first 2 or 3 Microsoft log sources, so like Entra ID and the Windows the system events, the Microsoft the Windows events.
Yeah.
Those kind of solutions you bring in, but then you also, for example, well, I would like to do something with web, and you just search for the essentials, and then you can see here, what do we have? Well, we have a workbook. We have detections for URLs. We have detection for unauthorized data transfers. But if you click on it, it also says directly the mapping against the MITRE framework, the query. In this case, it does create, of course, an incident, but also it says when you go here, which kind of source,
Okay, stores, yeah.
what kind of source you do need. In this case, it's not that you need them all. It's not like for this package you need Palo Alto, Squid Proxy, Zscaler. No, it's one or more.
Okay. So this is quite, how do you say that, informative when you click this specific one. Just explaining like, well, are the prerequisites.
Yeah,
As you mentioned, you don't have to comply to all of them, but at least just one of them, and then you see the actions.
yeah,
And then for the security professionals, you see the MITRE score, which is trying to help you basically.
exactly. And where in the past, I don't know if you remember from the past, you had to install the whole solution.
Yeah, it was quite a headache.
Yeah, and now you can just select I only need this or this or this or this. So you don't have to
You can basically enable only the things you need.
exactly. So you can fine grain or
Yeah.
how you want to call it. But in this case, if you do the whole package, you get 15 detections, 9 extra hunting queries, a playbook, which is a logic app, and you get a dashboard, which is a workbook.
Nice.
Yeah.
That looks lovely. Yeah.
So
Cool.
basically, when I go to my customers and my customers ask me, what can I improve in my environment? Often the case is first, of course, costs, but then next to that, I take them all to the SOC optimization blade. We go through there. I go with them through the content hub and help them to achieve or more detections, or sometimes we see, well, you have a log source and you don't have any detections on it. Maybe we have a solution out of the box, or that's what we do with the customers as well.
Cool. So you basically help them discover the product, or
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
we go together through the product and help them to see what we can do, what can they do better, how can we optimize, how we can get more value out of the product basically for or the same amount of money or for less money. that's what they all want. Spend less, do more with the tool. And we see a lot of things with the customers that they really, really want to work with it. The product, of course, matures over time a lot. Um, I won't say it's fully done, but we've grown to a reasonable competitor in our market, and I would say
Yeah.
um, for me as a person, I would say our SOAR capabilities are nice because it's one of the only solutions with built-in SOAR instead of an extra package the customer needs to buy. And I would say that the automation part in Sentinel is doing a great thing for our customers. If you have, for example, something you connect XDR and you have an error with or an incident with a host coming up, and you have automation built like, if this happens, this incident happens, and for example, this user is involved, or he's in this part of an organization, or something like that, then I want this machine to be isolated. Those kind of things can be done through automation, and because it's logic apps, you can just run your logic app code and you can run parallel actions. So you can also directly inform, for example, a manager or the IT team or those kind of things. And I think this is really valuable.
Yeah, basically you have a workflow behind the buttons, so to speak, and you
Yeah,
can inform people straight away. That's a
exactly.
great functionality. What I also
Yeah.
love is you have the integration of all your Microsoft products, if it's Azure or it's Office 365.
Of course, I think that's from the Microsoft ecosystem that's unmatched. I think there is no other solution in the market who is that well integrated with the Microsoft ecosystem. But that's an easy one to win, I guess, as well for Microsoft, of course. If you integrate with your own products, but I love it as well. Also on top. When you, for example, have an E5 license, a security E5 license, your users get like, or you get a discount on your pricing module.
Oh, that's always nice to know.
Yeah,
And just one question, what pops up? If I am an organization which is struggling to go or in a transition to go to the cloud, and they have their own SIEM solution, is it easy to connect them to Sentinel to sort of pump them over the data, or is that not possible?
is that easy? We have a migration program running for Splunk. Um, is it easy? I wouldn't say directly it's easy.
Okay.
But that's also, it's not easy, and not only because they have their own thing. It is also often there is a reason why there is still an on-prem solution running,
Right.
and
Yeah.
often that's compliancy or those kind of things, and then it's really difficult. If the customer really wants to move to Sentinel, then there are migration programs that can help them to do at least easily moving from, for example, SPL to KQL queries, bringing in data. What you also do a lot of, what we see a lot of times is side by side for a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's maybe the easiest step forward.
Yeah,
Just let the system run beside each other, and then see which works
exactly.
better.
It's costly because you pay for two at the same time, but you don't lose your old solution for a while, and you have the time to get up to speed with a new one. And yeah, that's great. It's a good option to work with. Um, see it happening a lot. And what we also see, for example, with the compliance issued customers I just talked about, the customers who are hesitating going into cloud, with starting a separate cloud environment from the on-premise one, is that they slowly start to do hybrid. So
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
what they
it
want to
can be
do is then
complex.
export basically the alerts or the incidents from Sentinel into another theme solution first, and then they get the trust and it starts to work and they start to build more and more in cloud, and then slowly you see the move that the Sentinel solution is starting to get more data in and more data in and more data in, and the on-premise one is starting to break down a little bit.
Right, yeah. You mentioned a lot of time compliancy.
Yeah.
One of the elements which I hear a lot of information about is the NIS2 compliancy. Do you see some grow in response to Sentinel on that one as well?
Definitely, definitely. The NIS2 compliancy requires a lot of companies to have a SIEM solution.
Right.
And we see a significant growth in the usage of Microsoft Sentinel for that.
Okay. Okay. For the people that don't know, the NIS2 compliancy, it's a requirement from the European government, if I say it correctly.
Yeah,
Um, and there a lot of security requirements is put on companies that you must comply to specific compliancy.
yeah,
Um,
and what a lot of customers think is like I do have like for example an XDR solution, but is that good enough? Is that long enough? Do I have a long enough retention? Those kind of things are questions popping up, and we see a lot of customers struggling as well. Still, it's
yeah,
not.
it's
It's fairly
difficult.
new, and I think the controls are not that great at this moment from organizations if they really are compliant. But you see the move that they want to be compliant, they don't want to take risks, and we see a significant growth on the Sentinel usage.
Yeah, cybersecurity is a hot topic, right? So you must comply at least to the minimums which
Yeah,
are written out there.
I don't
Okay.
think it will ever go away anymore. I think it will be harder than ever and stay there. And I think, for example, AI will also generate a new wave of cybersecurity
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
uh,
I totally
products, but
agree.
also things which needs to be protected or thought about. How can we solve problems around this? And
Yeah,
I think exciting times around this.
I think it's a good time to investigate. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, that's what I think as well.
Um, if I'm new to Sentinel, I'm just hearing it for the first time. Do you have some links or elements where to start?
Yeah, I do, and I will share the links directly with you later on. But
I will put them
go
in
to
the
the Microsoft Learn, and there is a big page on Microsoft Sentinel. And I also would love to recommend the Sentinel Ninja series on YouTube because those are awesome. If you follow them, I won't say you are the expert after that, but you are close, and I really like them. I like those Ninja series, by the way, from all the products we have, but I like those Ninja series on YouTube is awesome. But if you don't have anything and you do have Azure, what you need to do, the basic is start off with a log analytics workspace, search for Sentinel in the search bar, add your Sentinel solution on top of your workspace, which you can find in the drop down. Install it, wait a few minutes, and you have an empty workspace with Microsoft Sentinel running, and then it starts. And as I said before, don't bring in a log source if you don't have a use case. Except we have like 4 or 5 free log sources which you can ingest. It's all in the Learn, which you can read through it and enable them. Those you can always ingest because they are free. And start working off with a small use case and start small, grow big. I would also recommend every customer to start with a pay-as-you-go tier
start small and make it
and grow
big.
big. And I think that's still the credo from Microsoft Azure for like 15 years or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Last week, Azure was 50-year in celebration, right?
Yeah, last week we had also some internal emails and things about it, and I think and the cooler thing is in April this year Microsoft is 50 years, and that will be celebrated as
Wow,
well.
that's also a big achievement.
It's a really big achievement, yeah, yeah, and there will be some. I think there will be some cool things around. I don't know anything yet, but I'm quite sure Microsoft will do something with that. So,
Well, let us know, Jeroen, if there's something. Then we will share it in this channel as well.
yeah, that's cool.
But I want to thank you very much for your time and for your explanation. A lot of content to think about. Also for the cool functionality which we saw in the SOC dashboard improvements. Very
Cool.
cool to take a dive into it. I will share the link below. And yeah, I just want to thank you. I don't know if you want to add something,
Well, thank you for
final
hosting
word.
me, and thanks for hosting me, and really cool to do so. And if I can be of any help anytime soon, just set up another session and let's see what we can talk about.
Definitely, I will do that definitely. And if you have some cool topics, please let us know, and then we will have a new
Yep.
session as well.
Okay. Cool. Thank
For
you,
everybody,
Dinan.
thank you everybody for listening. Until next time, take care.